Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. My name is Rahim Khan, and this is Food of Life, a Real Talk series. Welcome to this week's show. We're having a bit of a technical difficulty a bit earlier, so apologies for the bit of a delay here. So thanks for being here today. This week, throughout our series, we've been talking about what it means when it comes to food and how food is life. And we've spoken to so many interesting people about what that means from their different perspectives. And so I'm excited first to introduce our co-host, Jessica Schellenberg. She was on the show last week. Jessica started as a student at Meal Exchange and then moved into being, an advocate on her campus. And now she's the Good Food Campus Lead for Western Canada at Meal Exchange. So I'm going to introduce Jessica, and then we'll introduce our guest for today. So welcome, Jessica.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
For sure. So Jessica, do you want to do the honors of introducing our guest for today?
Yeah, for sure. So we're really excited to bring in Jason Stashko and Krystyna Delahaye. They're a couple in their 30s with a passion for good food and a love for the land. So their project Seed of Life Farm was created in 2017. And since then, they've been growing a wide variety of vegetables and culinary herbs following organic principles. So this ensures that they can give back to the land like it gives back to us. They're currently farming in Cloverdale, BC. And as part of our Good Food Now project, Krystyna and Jason have been collaborating with us to support several students in the Vancouver region with a fresh box of produce that's actually starting this week until mid-August. So with that, welcome Krystyna and Jason.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
For sure. Thank you. So, we're really excited to have you. We've had such great conversations with different people on the show so far, but very different people. So, from very different sort of areas of work. So, anywhere from like chefs to local distributors, to advocates, and now we've got both of you who are farmers. So it's a really neat perspective that we're really excited to have.
Well, great. Yeah. Well, we're glad to be here.
Great. Jessica, do you want to?
Sure. So our first question for you is just what inspired you to become farmers?
Sure. Yeah. It started with a garden at our place, which was quite small when we first started. It was, quite small, and we only managed to grow probably 3 tomatoes, and it just kept getting bigger every year until it was basically taking up the whole backyard, taking up the whole front yard, and pots everywhere. So, we realized we had sort of a passion for it, and decided maybe we wanted to try it even on a bigger scale of maybe, farming or growing food for people. So we were kind of decided on that and about to just jump into it when we sort of talked to one of Krystyna's friends in Montreal who does some urban farming, and we asked her about it, and she said, "Whoa, you guys, you should just slow down here and maybe try an internship or something like that before you just jump into it, because there's a lot of different aspects which you don't really know about until you try it out for yourself and see." So we started looking around, and Krystyna found an internship with the
Soil. It's called Stewards of Irreplaceable Land, and it's an organization that helps to find you internships around your region, and that is all over Canada.
So we did that internship for a year, and we lived on the farm and got taught by an amazing teacher, Chris Bodnar, and learned a lot about farming.
Can you still hear us? Sorry, it's raining really hard.
We're in the house here. So.
It's okay. It's coming in and out.
Okay. So we spent a year there, and then after that, some opportunity came up to rent some land, and we did just jump into it after that.
Yes, and this teacher was really great. His goal was to teach to new aspiring farmers, but make sure that we would be happy farmers. So he made sure to teach us all the aspects of farming, because farming can be very difficult. But he taught us all the growing side and also the business side, which was really great. And since then, we kind of adopted farming as a way of life. And for us, it's a way of having a positive impact on the environment, on the community. And that's the way we feel like we can be the change that we want to see in the world.
Oh, excellent. That's really great. And it's exciting that, you thought of something like that. You were able to take an idea and bring it to fruition. That's always really great to see how people can transform, from sort of thought to conception to actual action. This is always so exciting to see. So one of the things that we, are really curious about is just that, like, small to medium-sized farms, we at Meal Exchange call them like community-based in our Good Food Challenge guide and program. And so often, there are significant hurdles when it comes to overcoming things such as like the price of land or entering into new markets and dealing with the changing weather and climate changing weather patterns, etc. In more recent times. So how have you been able to overcome some of these barriers?
Yes. So actually, when you hear about farming, it always seems to be a ton of challenges. But when you start, you realize that there is amazing support groups. For example, Young Agrarians that helps Canada-wide. And also, I think that on the East Coast, there's, for example, Terre de Lien that helps young farmers to find land to rent, because there's also the possibility of renting land instead of buying it. I know that on the East Coast, it might be a little easier to buy land, although it's still quite a bit of investment. But on the West Coast, it's very difficult. It's extremely expensive. So there is groups that are there to help link farmers that are ready to leave the farming world, but would like this land to keep on being farmed. So those organizations are there to link aspiring farmers to farmers of experience and try to help set up arrangements in between us. And so that's a great way. But also, if you are in a city, there's always possibility of seeing with the local organizations that are linked with farming, urban farming, gardening. It's possible to rent backyards to make exchanges with people and start farming their front lawn. There's a lot of people that are open to leave pieces of land available for people that would like to grow food with different arrangements. So really, those groups are very great, and they help not only with finding land, but also resources for just guiding people through the challenges, trying to help us to find people that could give us advice on different problems such as pests or climate, or because there is a lot of challenges. It's true, but agriculture has been there forever in the world, so we have a lot of knowledge that is accumulated, and through those groups we get to have a lot of help. So that's really wonderful.
That's amazing to hear and to have that community support. Oh, sorry, Jason, were you going to add to that?
Yeah, I was just going to add something about, I guess, about the markets and like challenges. There are lots of different, I guess, avenues to sell things. People usually think of the farmers market, which is there, and there's lots of farmers market, especially in the Vancouver area. But there's lots of other ways too, like this program we're doing here, and providing a weekly veggie box direct to from farmer to consumer. And there's also working with restaurants, or you can do wholesale, or with us our sort of mission is to work with social organizations to basically help people who need it most. And we also sell to a community kitchen here, Carnegie Community Kitchen, and we provide them with things, and they have low cost meals. So there's lots of different opportunities. Oh, I guess there's actually there's also now with the COVID pandemic, there's way more online stores. And the farmers markets have gone online too. So there's also that opportunity that's now really like opened up for people to, you know, if they are interested in farming or selling products like that, that they can sell online.
So the market is never difficult. It's always possible to sell food because everybody needs to eat 3 times a day. So there will always be a demand for local food. That's certain. And if not, yeah, please go. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, that's wonderful to really think about the fact that you can both diversify who you're selling to, but then also, sell it to the people that most need it and to be of service to your community. That's really an amazing thing to couple your business with. And on that note, I'm wondering if you have any advice for young and aspiring farmers.
Yes. Tons.
Sure. Let's see. Some advice.
Okay, well, I can start if you want. No worries. So first, I just want to say that it's possible to learn how to grow a green thumb. On my personal side, when I was younger, I bought thousands of, well, maybe not thousands, I'm exaggerating here, but a lot of houseplants, and I systematically killed them one after the other. So I thought I was really bad with growing things. And in the end, you realize that it's possible just if you take the time to learn about it. And there is so many ways to learn about how to grow food. As I was saying, agriculture has been around for so long that we do have resources. It is possible to communicate with farmers directly. Usually we are very busy in the growing season, but going to your farmer's market and just talking with the people that are producing the food, that's a great way because they are happy to talk about it. And the farming world is not, anyway, the small scale farming world, because that's what I know about, is not about competition. We know that we need more farmers. The average age of farmers in 2016 was 55 years old, and there's only 9% of that population of farmer that was under 35. So we do need more young farmers, and we're super happy to support each other and try to teach each other. So it is a very welcoming community, and it's heartwarming when we're part of it. It's super fun. And so there is ways of learning. That's one of the things.
Yes, and just, I guess, getting experience. It is one thing to think about farming and like farming and do it a bit, but to be a good farmer, it does take a lot of experience and patience from making lots of mistakes, of course. So yeah, getting experience. You can volunteer on a farm or do an internship, or like she said, just get to know your sort of farming community and see different opportunities that are available. And yeah, it's hands-on experience is of course the best, and just planting your own garden and getting experience yourself that way is great. And also, like she said as well, there's lots of information. There's books, there's podcasts, there's YouTube videos, there's all kinds of information where you can learn a lot about farming, from the business aspect to the growing to lots of different opportunities that you can take with that.
And no matter what you have, a backyard, a patio, or not even any of those, and you have to grow inside, there's always a possibility of growing at least one thing. And it's worth just put your hands in the dirt or just grow even microgreens or sprouts, just to have the feeling of what it is to put a seed in and then be able to eat the food that comes from the seed a few weeks to a few months later is just incredible.
That's really well said. I think that's really, fundamental, is like us, realizing where the food comes from and being able to see it go from a simple seed to something that we can actually consume. That's really so beautiful to. It's we don't have more of that, right? We should be able to do that and be more able to be on the land and and really have our hands in the earth. So that's really, really great that you said that. So can you tell us then, how does your business work? Because that's what we're curious about. Who do you primarily sell to? Who are your consumers? Like, what are your channels of distribution and stuff like that?
Okay, so since we are beginners, well, we're 3 years in, but still beginners, we are really just Jason and I working in the field, sharing tasks, not leaving one with more. Well, we're doing a little more of the heavy lifting and the machinery
I
stuff.
operate the rototiller.
Yes, and
She talks to people because she's nice.
thank you.
Duties, but mostly for everything.
Yeah. So we're just both of us. We could always take on people to work, but for now, we just feel like we're learning still so much that it's kind of difficult to guide somebody to be part of the farm. We would love it, but at the same time, we just, for now, have been able to manage just him and I. So yeah, so he does the deliveries. I do some paperwork, and then if not in the field, we're always thinking and researching and doing all the things together. So often there's a lot of stuff that actually needs two people. It just makes stuff way much more manageable to be two instead of being alone. But it's totally possible also to be alone. We know farmers that are just one farmer and they are still able to pull it off. They're champions. And if not, for where we sell, yes, please explain.
Yeah, we have the weekly CSA program, which we do with Meal Exchange, and then we have some other regular customers, which we've had from previous years.
Can I explain something? Sorry. The CSA is called Community Shared or Community Supported Agriculture. It is a system that farmers have found to be able to start the year of farming, because one of the things that happens is that we have no income until the vegetables are grown and sold. So in between, usually for us, February, March to June is where we have to buy the seeds, install all the irrigation system, and
do lots of stuff,
and spend a lot of money. Yes, absolutely. And usually you can still have your income a little bit left from last year, but to have a head start, this program of CSA has been created, and it goes, I think, probably worldwide. I don't know how far it goes, but it's a program where people subscribe early on in the season, helping the farmer by providing an income, and then from usually June to October, depends on which program the farm wants to go with. We just deliver a box of fresh veggies, and that's what we are doing with Meal Exchange. So weekly, the people will just receive veggies for what they prepaid in February. Anyway, was just wanting to explain what CSA was.
Thank you. That's helpful. Yeah.
So yeah, we do that, and we also sell to Carnegie Community Kitchen, and this year we're doing some online stores. Our landmates, who are King and Oyster Mushrooms, they have an online shop that is a sort of a collaboration between a lot of different farms, and we'll be selling some products on there. They have a lot of things available. We've done farmers markets previously, which are fun. And yeah, we love farmers markets. It's great atmosphere. This year, though, it didn't seem like we just wanted to focus on the CSA program and the community kitchen and just have those as our main focus. And not do the markets, because it does take a lot of prep and a lot of time to do the markets. So we wanted to just try not doing those this year, and especially with the pandemic and things like that, the market atmosphere is different and it changed, and there's a lot of opportunities for online selling instead. So maybe we thought that might be a better option for us this year.
But we're not saying no to next
I'm
years.
sure we'll do marketing, of course, because they are fun. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it's okay to do it differently in different years, depending on your context and what feels right to you, and so that you feel good when you're doing your work, right? And on that note, I'm also thinking, I'm curious about what your favorite crop is to grow, because I know when I was farming, I definitely had some that were a little bit of a pain, but then some that I was really excited to work with. So,
yes, well. There's the difference in between loving to eat the food and loving to grow the food, because there is some things that are really delicious and so hard to grow, and other that they are still very delicious but way easier to grow. So I'm guessing on my side, it's something that's easy to grow and delicious. So that's just the perfect world. It's garlic. And I just like garlic because it's also completely different than other crops. It pretty much grows by itself. I don't want to say that too much because there's still work and play in there, but it grows very easily. It's difficult to kill garlic, which is great for me, who used to always kill all the plants I had. So for sure, garlic is usually reliable, and it's just fun because the steps are different. There is also different products to be made with garlic. There's the flowering tip that's called a garlic scape. That is one of the way of the garlic to reproduce that we can actually harvest earlier in the season, and that helps for the garlic bulb to get bigger if we harvest that part. So
and it's delicious.
And it's delicious. Yes, it's another part that we don't get to eat often because it's available for a week or two during the year, and that's it. It's a fresh product of garlic. And then it's just fun because you actually, out of one garlic bulb, every single clove becomes a seed. So you harvest, you dry your garlic, then you have to clean it and make it all pretty, and then it becomes this wonderful, beautiful little thing that will last you for almost all year, because it's well, maybe not all year, I'll say 3 or 4 months, because it's something that lasts a long time. And then, you just divide your garlic bulbs that you're not eating, and then you have plenty of new garlic ready for next year. So for me, that crop is a very fun one to grow. And you, what is your favorite?
Probably squash, like a winter squash, the big, crazy, gnarly, knobbly, weird looking winter squash. Yeah, just because it looks crazy. I don't know.
That's awesome.
And those plants almost look like dinosaur plants. They just take over. They're so enormous. They're also one of the first foods. So it's just very impressive. And they're all delicious, and also they do last for a long time. So, and they're sweet, which is also something that not a lot of veggies have. They have a sweetness to them, which is really great. Yeah. And I think that's it. If not, there's plenty of other crops. I love the crops also where you just walk in the garden and it's really easy to just snap a bean and eat it while you're working, or pick a strawberry and just keep on picking, or something like that. It's just very fun to be also just able to eat directly from the garden. I don't think there's fresher than that.
That's wonderful. Well, my dad talks a lot about the farms when we're from India originally, and so back his father and like their families and him, and they all grew up on the farms, and they always talk about these things. And I always say my dad has a real green thumb because he can grow anything. I usually do the same thing, Krystyna. I usually kill my plants and take them to my dad, and then he fixes them.
There you go.
I usually survive. So.
Yep, understand very well.
Fully like transform the backyard into the farm and all that stuff, right? So yeah. I hear you. That was his dream, was to get a farm and start growing coriander. That's what he wanted.
Great.
So here's a question for you. Can you speak to the importance of like the ecosystem of health? So how do do your farming practices interact with the environment?
Do you go? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we do follow organic practices, and we're concerned with the soil health and sort of encouraging the biodiversity in the soil, and encouraging, activity of microorganisms and creatures that live inside the soil, making sure it's a place that, they can thrive in there, and that really helps the plants, and helps sort of all life in the garden or in the farm. And it's not just really about nutrients. We do like soil tests as well, and you need to make sure you have the proper nutrients so you can grow the crops you want, and you need to make sure the pH balance is also correct. So you need to monitor those things, and those will also play into the health of the soil and those organisms that do live in the soil. So it is a lot about that, and about the health of the soil. And I guess there's lots of different practices that people do with organic farming, but I mean, number one is like, adding compost that's basically a main thing that we do is add compost to increase the nutrients, organic matter, and just basically feed those microorganisms.
Because what you want actually is to not necessarily just feed the plant, which is often what a chemical fertilizers can be. They will do a quick feeding of the plant. But what we're trying to do is just create this beautiful ecosystem to have a soil that's living all year, not something that comes from dead in the winter to alive in the spring. We just want to feed this magical little place, because we don't see it, but there is millions of organisms in there, and they work so hard. And when they are working and active and well fed, they do help bring up the nutrients to the plants, and that's how we get the best nutrients and food to the plants. So it's not about just trying to get the biggest lettuce by giving it a ton of nitrogen, which is usually what will make it go bigger, but not necessarily feed it with nutrients that will stay, but feeding the soil so it can go get the nutrients from the soil. That is one of the things that we do for environmental.
Yeah, that's basically the how we give back to the land, or to the earth. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through those methods. Like I said, there are lots of different ways, and you can just look it up, different techniques of organic farming, or different methods that are useful in different situations.
If not, for example, for water preservation, we use drip lines. So instead of having those big sprinklers that are wasting a lot of water and just throwing it all over the place, we have this. It's a very thin piece of plastic that has little emitters, and it just drops one drop at a time. And it's very efficient because it's very close to the plants. So we're really watering only the plants and not all the field at the same time. So this is a way of preserving water, which is also something that's very important. And it's just to learn how to organize your land so you're being the most efficient, and just trying to not spend a crazy amount of resources that don't need to be used unnecessarily. There is plenty of ways of being very conscious of your impact on the environment. And there's so many resources, books, and again, the groups that can guide you through this, because there's so many aspects to be careful of. But once you're started in this, then it just becomes an automatic way of thinking. Even, for example, when you're going to market, the packaging, for example, is another aspect, an environmental aspect that's really important. So we're trying to reduce the packaging and thinking of ways. It's not easy because we still need plastic bags, which is really annoying for most of us. We don't want to use plastic bags, for example, because that's another environmental issue that's big. But we just try to figure out different ways, original ways, inventive ways, but yet still needing to comply to some rules to just think more environmentally positive, or anyway have a good impact on the environment.
That's excellent. Well, so we're almost out of time. Do you have any last minute thoughts or words for our audience?
Go. No.
I guess not. No.
Well, if you want to get into farming, please do. If not, at least just go try every vegetable and fruit that are in season. Try to understand what is in season in your region, and just go taste the delicious food that comes out of small farms. It's quite different than what you find in stores, obviously, often, and it will make you discover that the food industry is not the food industry. Sorry, the farming world is just a beautiful world, and it's So just go and eat delicious fresh food this year if you can. That'd be wonderful.
I love that. That's amazing.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Well, thanks again also for being on the show, and for all the work that you're doing with Meal Exchange, for helping us get food out to students, and for being so conscious of the earth and the environment, and still following your passion and your hearts to do what you love. So really, we're grateful that you were on the show today, and we look forward to keeping in touch with you.
Wonderful.
Yes,
thanks for your support.
having us. Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay, take care.
Yeah,
yes, you too.
Okay, well, that was a really great conversation, Jessica. Thanks for being on the show again.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Thanks again for having me. It was so nice to connect with Krystyna and Jason after a flurry of emails back and forth and to see, their faces. So thanks.
No problem. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you soon, Jessica.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Hi, everyone. That's it for today. Thanks so much for being on the show yet again. We had such a great time having a conversation with Krystyna and Jason and Jessica about local farming and the need to continue to invest in local farms. And we're so grateful that we've been able to make such great partnerships through Meal Exchange across the country in so many communities, doing the same type of work in terms of making sure that we've got good food boxes out for students. Our boxes are, we had scheduled to have them till June 30th, but we're doing our best to try and raise more dollars so we can continue to extend the program. So we ask that you really consider making a donation when you can. You can go to goodfoodnow.ca to learn more, and feel free to contribute. An average box is like $20 for a week of produce, which is nothing more than a meal that we would order from a restaurant, or that type of thing. So definitely something that we can all afford, and so feel free to learn more on our website, goodfoodnow.ca. And I look forward to seeing you again next week as we continue the conversations on Food is Life, a Real Talk series. Take care, and see you next week.